Hi, in this video I will show you how to create a table and read an Excel sheet dynamically. So here is my sample Excel sheet called sales, and I have got three columns: customer, sales rep, and sales rep email address. Okay, there are no tables created here. So the plan is we'll create the table dynamically and then read the content dynamically. Let's start building the flow. So for that, I'm going to use the OneDrive connector, OneDrive for Business, and when a file is created. Okay, so I'm going to use a root folder for this demo. Okay, the next step, what we need to do here is we need to get that file ID, which is the Excel file ID. So for that, I'm going to use the new Office connector. So if you look for Office 365 groups, under that you can see send an HTTP request. Okay, so what we want to do here is we need to get the Excel ID first. That's the first step we need to do here. Okay, so the REST API endpoint is it's starting with the name. I'm filtering the starting with the name and file name. Okay, so the plan is I can get the ID using this. So the file name I can get from my previous connector, yeah, previous action step, which is when a file is created. I'll put all the REST API endpoints in my video description. Okay. So once this is done, let's go to the next step. The next step is we need to pass the JSON values from this. So before that, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to run this flow now. Okay, so let's call this as demo Excel table dynamic. Okay, saving the flow now. Right. Next, I'm going to take this file and copying into my OneDrive. Let's close this file, save and close. Right. Okay, I'm going to copy this file and I'm going to paste it here. Okay, now I'm expecting my flow to trigger now. Let's go and see. Okay, my flow triggered successfully. So let's go and have a look. So you can see here, that's the ID I am after. We can't use the name. That this is the ID I am after. Okay, so let's go back here and oh, sorry. Before that, we need to copy the endpoint. So copy all that and get the parse JSON step next. Okay, the content is coming from the body send HTTP value actually. Yeah, and that's the schema. So what I want is ideally I want to use the value only there. See that? So what I need to do here is I need to use the body. Let's copy that. Go to the function, paste it there. So okay, so that's the content I'm after. Here it is. Okay. And the schema, what I need to do here is I'm only interested only in this array only. So what I could do is instead of using the value and because I need the ID, so the best thing I can use here is um, just I know the syntax value, then the ID it is as an array that. So what I could do here is probably that's the best way to do it. I could add a compose. Okay, let's do after that. And go to the function and then use the question mark value, and then that's an array, and inside that I am after the ID then. I think so, yeah, that might work. Let's see. I could probably say first off question mark ID. Yep, yeah, let's see. So I'm going to use my recent trigger. I don't need to drag and drop now. Okay, right, Parse JSON failed because I know why it is. I need to get the array only there. That's the reason. So let's copy up to here. Edit, generate from sample. Okay, here it is. I'm going to add another compose also here and map that. So I can demonstrate both ways you could do it. Yeah, this is the Parse JSON. Then from there I can get the ID also. Here I am directly, getting the expression here to get that. So there are different ways you could do it. So let's see what we're going to get anyway. That's more important here. Here it is. I got the ID, and here also I got the ID. So there are two different ways you can do it. I just demonstrated both ways. Yeah. Okay. So what I'm going to do is because I can avoid one iteration, which always slows down the process, I'm going to remove that because I know how to get the ID using a direct expression. Yeah. So this is the Excel ID then. So just rename this to saying Excel ID identifier. Okay, then I'm going to add next compose and use the name also there. So copy that, go to the function and change the ID to name. Oops, didn't like it. Ah, I know why. Because when I copied, I need to remove this. Yeah, name. Okay, so now this stage we have got the Excel name also, file name, Excel file name. Let's test this again. Make sure all the steps are working. Okay, so we got the ID and the file name. So far, so good. The next step I need to do here is we need to get the range of the Excel file because when we read the Excel file, we need to know the range to create the table. So how can I do that? So for that, again, I need to use another send HTTP request. Okay, so this one we are finding the file name and the file details. Yeah, so let's comment this. So it's good for some comments to use it. That comment that's for the reviews. Um, Yeah, add a note. So here we can say get Excel ID and file name. Okay, here we go. Nicely documented that. Now the next step I'm going to do here is, because I need to use again another HTTP, I'm going to copy to my clipboard. This is a useful feature in Power Automate. Then new step, click on the my clipboard and again copy that. So here we go. We got the next one. So the next one I'm interested here is to find the range of the file. So just remove that and add a new comment. Oh, I kept going there. I need to go to the note, and here I'm going to say get Excel used range. Okay, so for that we need to use a different endpoint there. Okay. Okay, so the endpoint we need to use here is for getting the Excel used ranges. We need to pass the Excel file Excel ID, which we got earlier from the output, then the same syntax here. Okay, assume we got the worksheet named as sheet 1 by default. It will be sheet 1 always. Okay, so that's done. Then I set here used range values only equals true. Okay, that's the next step. Again, I will copy all these in my video description below the REST API endpoints. Right. Okay. Once that's done, let's test the flow again. Okay. Flow ran successfully, and we have got the value range here, I believe. So let's go and have a look. Here it is. So that says, there are 3 column counts there, and the sheet A1 to C6 is the address. That's the range we got. Let's have a look that from my Excel file. So here it is. So you can see that's my range all the way from up to, see that, C6. So what we got here is, let's have a look from here, A1 to C6. So that's A1 and up to the third cell, which is C6. So A1, C6. Okay, that's clear now. Yeah, let me close the Excel file. Okay, go back. So we need to get that value range. So get the value range. Again, I'm going to add another compose. Okay, and I'm going to rename here value range. So how can we get the value range? So to get that, we have to do some work here. So I already did this, so I can show you the function, the expression I'm going to use. I'm going to use the last split body of my request, which is the second request underscore 2 address with the exclamation mark. Okay, so that's the expression we need to use here. Oops, it's not worked. Let me see why. Um, okay, let's test that again and see what we are going to get there. Okay, so we got that now, the value range. Here we go, A1 colon C6. So how do I got that? So let's see. What I did here is, in my expression, I'm splitting the address with the exclamation mark, that is that, then saying give me the last value of that. That's the expression I used. Okay, does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. Yeah. Okay, next thing we need to do here is, this is the part we need to create the table now. So for that, again, new step, remember the clipboard we used. Again, I need to use another HTTP request, and then adding the uh, new edit note. Okay, so here I'm going to add the note, that is, now we can create the table. We got all the information we got now for creating the table. For that, we need to use another endpoint here. So the endpoint we need to use here is this. And here we got the Excel ID, which we got here, the output Excel ID, no, not that, sorry. I need to go back here and say Excel ID one. That's the one. So that's output of the Excel ID. And then that's a post operation we need to do here. Remember, that's a post operation. So far we did the get operation. Now we need to do the post operation. Then we need to pass the address range in the body. So the syntax here is address the output of the value range, which is my previous step here, and has headers is true because we got the headers in my Excel sheet. So this way it creates the table now. So hopefully this should create the table. So let me save this. And once we get the table ID, we can pass to reading the list rows in a present table. So let's run this now and see what we are going to get. Okay, so next we need to find the table ID. We need the table ID for reading the contents. So let's go back and get the body of the results from the last step. That is the create table one, yeah. And then I'm going to add Parse JSON step, pass the body of the previous output. Under the schema, place the cursor and click generate from sample and paste that last output value there. That's done there. And then here I can say I'm going to add another compose and to see what we get. So this is the last previous step and I can get the ID there. That's the ID. That's the ID of the table actually. So now hopefully we need the last step, which is the Excel online business list rows present in a table. And the location is going to be OneDrive. Document and library is the OneDrive. And the file name. The file name is the output. Again, search for the output. Excel file name, we collected that already earlier. But remember, that's in the root of that. So we need to put a slash before that, like that. So that's in the root and the file name. And the table one, the table is going to be add a dynamic item and click the dynamic value of the table, which is the previous output of that compose. That is this. Yeah. So that's a custom value I added. So here it says that's a custom value. Let's save the flow now. Okay. See, once you added the custom value, it doesn't show it what it is. But let's have a look in the P code. Got interested in that to see that. Here we go. That's output of that compose. You can see that, but it doesn't show it like other mappings. That's why it is. Okay, so that's done. Okay, now we can run the flow now again and see that's going to work or not. Okay, for that I need to drag and drop the file again. So I'm going to go to my sales.xls file again. So just to make sure that that file hasn't got any tables, see that? And go into my OneDrive and pasting it. Okay, I got the file now here. Let me minimize those. Just going back to that. Here we go. My flow is running now. Okay, flow ran successfully. So what happens here now? Let's go back and inspect the OneDrive file, which we just copied it. I'm going to open that. Hopefully that should have a table. Here it is. The table is created successfully. It's all dynamic. And also, if I got the list rows present in a table, here it is. I got my content now, so that I can read my content dynamically now. Hope this is useful, and thank you for watching the video.